How do you get motivated to exercise or do anything for that matter? Hey, you, how's it going? How are you? It's AD Roundtree. Welcome to this, your Monday edition of the show. Yeah, your Monday, your new day of your new week, your clean slate, your fresh start, a chance for you and I to move forward together into whatever it is that happens next, a chance for you to kick an entirely new work week directly where it counts. You're doing awesome. Hang in there. You got this. You are a badass. And if you need something, if there's anything I can do for you to make your Monday better, hit me up. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. At ADSXE, it's where you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at ADSXE. Put it in your phone now in case you need it later. Thank you so much to everyone that has supported the podcast, either by listening or by sharing or by supporting it on Patreon. You can do that, patreon.com/ADSXE. It means the world to me. I really, really appreciate any of that. If you subscribe on Patreon and become a patron, you can listen to episodes commercial free as well. I'll never put this show behind a paywall. I'll never charge a subscription fee because most of the conversations you and I have are about health and about mental health. And I've said it before, I will say it again. I believe these conversations should be free to everyone for all time in perpetuity. But if you are one of the people that's supported on Patreon, thank you so very much. I have a small life update. We'll talk about it on another edition of the show, probably in more detail, but I have a new job. It was announced this morning that I'm going to be the new morning guy at a radio station called KSHE in St. Louis, the longest running rock station, not just in America, but in the world. I am privileged and honored to just have a job during a time where in radio, there's less and less of those to go around. I feel very, very lucky to have landed where I did. But I also feel lucky because it's a legendary station. And it's sort of, it's a station I feel unbelievably lucky to be at because the people there are incredible. The team is amazing. The radio station has unbelievable heritage, obviously. But also, they're probably the only or one of the very few rock radio stations in America that don't want sort of a big-voiced, shouty morning guy. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that I'm not it. This radio station, they're a bunch of quirky music nerds. And, that is where they think I'll fit right in. And I have to say, I'm inclined to agree with them. I'm tremendously grateful. If all goes according to plan, I will start on the air there on April 4th. And, we'll talk about that more. But for those who have been asking, the announcement was made this morning. A press release went out, and a lot of people have been asking me, will you continue the podcast when you go do that? Yes, is the answer. Yes, this is my way of keeping my connection to you, people that have listened to me on various radio stations for the last 17 years. And I can't tell you how much I value the relationship we built over those 17 years. You've gotten me through the high times, the low times, and all the times in between. And hopefully I've helped do the same for you. And I'm not walking away from that. I wouldn't want to. And I think, to be honest with you, podcasting is probably going to be an even bigger part of my future moving forward. Don't know exactly how or where this is all going to land, but to answer the question that I've gotten over and over again, since it was announced that I was going to be going to this unbelievable radio station, KSHE, yes, I will be continuing with the podcast. And thank you so much for wanting to be along for the ride. I am so unbelievably grateful for you. So I got an email from a guy called Joe. You can do that too. You can hit me up at ADSXE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My DMs are open. Or you could email me. I'm here with you. I'm here for you at gmail.com the way Joe did. But Joe said, I'm a big fan of yours from your morning show on alternative radio and now your podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of my radio family, Joe. He said, I'm so sorry about your dad. I lost my dad last year too. You're right. The grief does come in waves and lasts a while, but I appreciate the perspective you bring to the conversation. I am so sorry for your loss, Joe. It's weird. I've said it a lot, but there's nothing that takes the pain or the suffering or the sense of loss away with grief. Nothing. But the love and support of friends, family, loved ones, sometimes complete strangers, really does make a difference. And it especially makes a difference for some reason when that person has been through that as well. Couldn't tell you exactly why, but it does. So my heart goes out to you, Joe, and, well, the support really makes a difference. Thank you. Joe goes on to say, I'm in my mid-30s and my youthful metabolism has abandoned me. As such, I've been needing to do more to get in shape and stay there. I really appreciate the tips on the eat less side of the health equation, but I'm struggling on the move more. It's not easy to muster up the willpower and motivation on the day-to-day. With a hospital job in the middle of all this, gestures around, yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much for whatever it is you do in the world of healthcare. This has been an unbelievably trying couple of years, several years now. And for people like you who've been on the front lines of our healthcare system, exponentially more so. And I cannot thank you enough. I'm sure we all can't thank you enough for all the things that you've done and all the things that you've endured on all of our behalves. Thank you. But he said, with a hospital job in the middle of all this and 2 kids, I feel like I'm behind the ball on so many things these days. And exercise is a checkbox that I rarely manage to tick at the end of the day. So my questions are twofold. Can you send me the exercise plan you used? I think simpler might be better just to get there and do it. And maybe that will help me with dragging myself to the barbell. And 2, how do you motivate yourself to stick with the plan? Maybe hearing how other people manage will give me some ideas as well. Thank you so much for sharing your voice and your time with us. I look forward to your podcast every weekday, and I'm excited to see where you go next, Joe. Well, thank you so much, Joe. And man, the motivation is an unbelievably tough one. And if anybody else wants to chime in, we all have different ways of forcing ourselves to do the things that we have to do. We all have different ways of kicking ourselves in the butt, lighting a fire under our own backside, whatever you want to call it. We all have different things that work for us. I think the real light bulb went on for me with exercise was, I'll never forget it. I've been in and out of gyms for a long time. Been in really good shape, been in okay shape, and been an absolute mess. And I had several failed starts when I was an absolute mess to kind of get back into shape. One of these things included a personal trainer, buddy of mine. Now, I didn't go and see a personal trainer every single week. I was like, look, I know what I'm doing in a gym. I've been going to gyms on and off. Just, I'm going to meet with you once a week. You tell me what to do and I'll do it. I don't need you barking at me through every set. So he gave me a workout program, one that I could have stuck to, but I did not for a couple different reasons. One, it was a little more complicated than I want to get into. It was, I think, partially based in CrossFit. And I don't know how much CrossFit you've done, but it's not simple. It requires thought. The movements require concentration. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people that get a lot out of that. There's a lot of people that swear by that kind of exercise. It didn't work for me. If I have to put thought into doing something beyond, okay, keep my form right, keep my back straight, don't bend this, do bend that. If I have to put extra thought into doing something like, God, I never even once got it right, a Turkish get up, I think it was called. Blah. And there's probably CrossFit people listening to this laughing at my ass. But if I have to put thought into doing something like that, which was about as difficult as it was for me to learn how to do the moonwalk back in the day when I was a kid, I am not interested. So I believe in making it simple and easy for yourself. Other people would totally disagree. They want variety. They want a challenge. They want to do things differently every single day. I don't know about you, but I am not one of those people. I want it to be simple and easy and mindless. I want to be able to get through my stuff, and I want to be able to get out of the gym. That's what I want to do, which is why I like my exercise program so much. So it is simple. Joe, I emailed it to you. Hope you got it. Now, it does require an investment of time, but it's not one of those things where you're in the gym every day. For people that do exercise, it's not. It's a 3-day program. You're in the gym 3 days a week. It's not one of those things where you are doing legs, push, pull, and going into the gym every single day. No, it's a full body program that, there's only 2 workouts and you alternate them every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And they take about, if you give yourself proper rest time, which I like to do, I like to give myself at least 90 seconds of rest time so I can get the most out of every last set. It takes around 45 minutes. You can rush through it, get through a little faster, but like I said, I like to take longer breaks. So it's not dedicating your life to being in the gym constantly. It's 45 minutes, 3 days a week. Now, when I say going to the gym, that's part of the motivation as well. I did what a lot of people did during COVID. I set up a home gym. In fact, I'd gotten one before, which was a good thing because, man, once COVID hit, you could not get home exercise equipment for love or money. I remember I bought a set of those adjustable dumbbells, those power block things right before, and I think they were like $200. And if you've never seen these things, they're great. They're adjustable dumbbells. They go all the way from 15 pounds up to 50 pounds, and it replaces a whole rack of weights. They're fantastic. I swear by them for at-home use. But I bought those for like $200, and the moment COVID hit, man, they were going for $500-$600 from reputable dealers. Market fluctuations caused the prices to shoot through the freaking roof. But nevertheless, I had some home gym equipment, and I thought that would be great. Work a little, bang out a set of this. Work a little bit more, do a set of push-ups or pull-ups or whatever it was I was doing. And I found that didn't work for me. I mean, I got it done, but I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't focused. I kind of broke it up throughout the course of the day, and that wasn't for me. Wasn't into that. And I find a big part of getting motivated is going somewhere. Now, I don't know what your life is like with your family and your work schedule, but if you can get away for 45 minutes 3 times a week, I think that's a big part of it. Because, well, if you've got the weights at home or you want to work out in your basement or whatever the case may be, it's great. It's right there, but it requires this extra level of discipline to drag yourself away from the television, drag yourself away from your family. Because, you love your family. You want to be around them, especially if you're like Joe and you have kids and, they're not necessarily going to be understanding of the fact that you are bench pressing something. I started doing bench presses on the floor with dumbbells. I really like that. And, without fail, my dog, Millhouse, would be like, "Oh, what you doing on the floor, Dad?" And he would start kissing my nose, and it would be a whole big thing, and I'd have to take a break, and then I'd lose track of what I was doing, and then I'd be like, I think I have some chips downstairs, and then it would be done. But going to a specific place to do it, if you can, if you're able to, if you have the luxury of 45 minutes in another place to go get that done, if you have the luxury of whatever it costs to go to whatever the gym is, then I really, really recommend that. For me personally, I find that specifically going somewhere really makes all the difference in the world. The last place I lived was great because, well, it had a gym in the subdivision. It was about a 3-minute walk from my little home. I would head over there and walk back. It was great because I didn't have to drive to another place, and Man, if I could find that situation again, I would be very, very happy about it. So we'll see. But I find that when you make time to go somewhere, you're not going to get distracted. You are in the gym. You're going to get through it, get it done, and go back home to your kids. So I find when you're looking for some motivation, I find getting there, you're there, you're going to do it. If you're at home, there's a pretty good chance you won't. So I know this sounds simple and boneheaded, but this is what I noticed made a big difference for me. The other thing that I noticed was when I was having one of these failed starts, and this was key. When I was having one of these failed starts trying to get into shape, I was like, I got to get into the gym. I got to do, maybe tomorrow, maybe. And something struck me once. And it seems so obvious, and it probably seems so obvious to you, and it might not make any difference to you, but I came to the realization that nobody could do this for me. Literally no one else could get me into shape. Sure, I could hire a trainer, but I would have to do the right things. Trainer yelling at you through every set is A, expensive, and B, it doesn't necessarily get the job done if you aren't following up, doing your part at home where you are. Look, nutrition is such a big part of it. And that requires self-discipline. Even if you do have the luxury of hiring a trainer, they cannot follow you around all day long and monitor your diet. It's just that's for people in Hollywood that have personal chefs and trainers, and their food intake is very, very closely monitored because they got to look like Captain America or Thor for the next Avengers movie, and there's gazillions of dollars wrapped up in it. That's not necessarily a thing that you and I can probably do. So I came to the realization that nobody could do this but me. No one's going to get myself in shape other than myself, which seems so simple and so basic to be talking about. But it really was something that clicked in my head that went, if this is going to get done, I'm going to have to do it. And then when you do it, nobody else did it but you. Nothing can take that from you. So that was something that helped motivate me as well. Going somewhere specific to exercise, recognizing that no one could do this but me. And I got to tell you, the other thing that really helped me get motivated was keeping track of stuff. Now, eating, you said something to the effect of you're okay with eating less. It's the moving more part that's challenging. And look, if you want to control your weight and lose some fat through diet alone, it does work. But it is nowhere near as satisfying as when you add some resistance training because it leads to bigger and more noticeable changes in your body and the way you feel. And that in itself is motivation. When you see results, when you step on the scale and you see results, when you look in the mirror and you see results, when you go, I have been working and here are little signs consistently showing up that I've been doing this, well, that's good. That'll keep you going. You see a step or two being taken in the right direction, it makes you want to take more. And that leads me to my next observation about all this, the step counter. Now, you want to move more. And, well, if you are doing things the way I recommend you do, you are tracking your food intake. You are eating somewhere between 10 and 12 calories per pound of ideal body weight, meaning if you want to weigh 180 pounds, you are eating around 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day. And as you track that through something like the MyFitnessPal app, if you don't have it, please download it. But as you're tracking your food intake, you will also see the step counter show up in your phone. Almost every phone has one. And I think it automatically syncs to it. So it'll tell you how many steps you've taken and how many extra calories you've burned or earned. You know, if you're trying to eat 1,800 calories and you burned 300 calories walking, well, you go, that's a Snickers bar I can have tonight. So that's kind of cool. But I find the step counter is really, really good because it tells you how far you've gone. And when you check it and see, oh, I've gone like 15, I've gone 7,500 steps. Another 2,500, I get to that fabled 10,000 steps. And I find that looking at the step counter every once in a while will make me want to be like, I'll take an extra 100. I'll get it up to the next 1,000. I'll get it up to the next number that ends with 0, or do 500 more steps. It doesn't take that long to do 500 more steps. You can probably do it walking around your home pretty easily. And well, something about seeing the step counter, and maybe it's my obsessive compulsive disorder, which I do have and is a very real thing, that makes me want to fill my gas tank up to even numbers when I'm gassing up. That thing where you look at the step counter, it has the same impact on me. If I see that I'm up to 10,250 steps, well, I want to get up to 10,500. So I'll take the extra 250 steps. So looking at the step counter and trying to just throw a few more in to get to the next 100, get to the next 500, get to the next 1,000 steps, that is a big part of the motivation for me, for whatever weird reason. And, well, you do an extra 100 steps, an extra 500 steps here and there. And by the end of the week, that adds up to something significant in terms of your calorie deficit, which leads to you being a lot closer to losing weight. The other thing that makes a big difference with my motivation, not just to exercise, but to do anything whatsoever, is to write it down. I am nothing without my to-do list. I've talked about this on the show before, but many years ago, I met a guy, the great Ricky Lee Mensch. If you are a member of the hip hop or music community, the hip hop radio community, if you have been in or around that world for some time, chances are you cross paths with the great Ricky Lee Mensch. He was a fantastic guy. He was a mentor to so many people. He was like an uncle to me. He was the coolest guy. I miss him all the time. He sadly passed away several years ago, but Ricky Lee Mensch had no problem talking about the fact that he had been an alcoholic and was in recovery for many years. He had many, many years sober. And he told me that something I might find useful from the 12-step program, even though I wasn't in it, was something he learned to do. And I don't think this is one of the specific steps. Don't correct me on this one. But he said it was something that he learned when he was taking part in the 12-step program and taking part in Alcoholics Anonymous, was the to-do list. When he could not get his life together, when he was an absolute mess before he went on to be a real mover and shaker in the music industry, when he was just trying to put the tattered pieces of his life back together, he would write down a to-do list, and it was everything that he had to do. Everything from like get up, brush your teeth, shower, have breakfast, go out, apply for a job. And, well, he said every time he crossed something off that list, he got a sense of accomplishment, and that drove him forward. And eventually, his to-do list had things on it like, remember to call Jay-Z back. He was a real mover and shaker. And he said that to-do list was something that he stuck with for the entire time that he was going through this process. And I'm pretty sure he stuck with it up until the very end of his life. But that to-do list really, really, I'm completely scattered. I'm completely sort of ADD, and I'm all over the place. And if I didn't have the to-do list, I would get lost, and I would feel lost, and I would get so much less accomplished. But also, he really had a point about what it does for your forward momentum and your self-esteem when you make a to-do list and you cross off things on it. It's a great, great tool. And, well, I would write it down. Go to gym. You might want to even get as specific as bench press, overhead press, squats, things of that nature. But making your exercise part of your to-do list means that it's going to be looking at you all day. And whenever you fit it in, you fit it in. And I think there's a much better chance of you fitting it in if you write it down. Here's the other thing that's very important to point out. You want to be consistent. Now, consistent to me is not being militant about it. Ideally, you should be in the gym 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, doing alternating workouts. You should be tracking your calories. You should be eating a consistent amount of calories every single day. That is going to put you in a calorie deficit. That's going to help you lose the old spare tire or whatever it is you want to lose when you're talking about your youthful metabolism abandoning you. But say you screw up. Say you miss a workout. Say you can't get to the gym one day. Say you eat an entire sleeve of Oreos. Say you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and go absolutely hog wild. Say you go out to dinner and there's no way you can track those calories. Who knows what's in that? Say you go over to your mom's house for dinner. Who knows what's in that? That is not messing up. That's not falling off. Missing a workout, breaking your plan for the amount of food and calories and protein and all of the above that you're trying to eat. Messing that stuff up isn't failure. Not getting back at it again is, well, that's falling off. So, don't let it get you down if you don't make it to the gym on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There were so many times where I was completely beat on a Friday. I'm like, no way. I need to lie here and watch TV and just be face down in my carpet for a while. The gym, that's not happening. But I would go on a Saturday instead. Or maybe I wouldn't go, but I'd be back at it on a Monday. And if I wasn't at it on a Monday, I would go in on the Wednesday. Those little slip-ups, they're not the things that are going to define you. Whether you get back at it after the slip-up, that is what's going to define you. So it's a weird thing, but I think staying consistent by going easy on yourself and not feeling like you've blown it just because you eat the cookie or you skip the workout, I think that's a big part of it. So if you mess up, recognize that you haven't really messed up. You just have to get back at it on the next gym day or whatever the case may be. So these are the ways that I stay motivated. I write things down. I am a big believer in tracking calories and nutrition and using a step counter. And by the way, the whole tracking thing, it's not that big of a deal. Most things have a barcode on them that you can zap. And, if I am being really strict about it, I do have a little scale. And if I want to, I haven't done this in a long time because I haven't been crazy intense with what I was doing in a long time. But, I have a little scale and it's pretty easy to measure out 9 ounces of chicken or whatever it is. So it's not that big of a thing. And a scale costs like, I don't know, $10. I think if you have health insurance, a lot of the time, they will provide one for you. If you tell them you want to be healthy, they'll send you a little kit of fitness stuff. It's pretty cool. Anyways, those are my tips for staying motivated. Does that help at all? I really, really hope it does. And I wanted to say one more thing about what you talked about, saying your youthful metabolism has abandoned you. Now, I am not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. I don't know anything. I find it slightly weird that so much of this show centers around health and fitness, but someone put it really nicely when they said, you're not a gym guy, but you're our guy. And we trust you and you've gotten some real results. Plus, you're not trying to sell us something. So that's why we keep asking you questions about that stuff. Cool. I'm going to do the best I can to help you. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a scientist. But that thing you said about your youthful metabolism abandoning you. Here's the thing. I think there was this notion that was floating around for a long time that once you hit 21 or once you hit 25 or once you hit 30, boom, your metabolism crashes down to a snail's pace and all of a sudden you could eat whatever you want 5 years ago and be a ripped tone, shredded, single-digit body fat having super athlete. And now you look at a potato chip and all of a sudden you're Jabba the Hutt. Recent research has shown that it's not necessarily your metabolism slowing down, and your metabolism doesn't really slow down until much, much later in life, not until the age of 60. Some people say later, and this is from respectable universities. I'm not able to cite my sources, but this is stuff that I've actually read because I was curious about what you said. I dug around. Now, these are the things that will slow your metabolism down. It's not necessarily age, but with age, with being a dad, with having a job, with not necessarily moving around so much, you become less active and you lose muscle mass. And when you're less active and you lose your muscle mass, when you're not sort of exercising as much as you were, you are going to burn less fat. It's not the age, but it's some of the things that come with age. Some of the more sort of like environmental or societal things that come with age. Generally speaking, we are not as active at 35 as we were when we were 21. We have cars, we have jobs, we are not walking to bus stops, we are not taking trains, we're not on bikes, we're not running around being idiots, we're not spending as much time on foot. People are like, man, I was in college and I was in the greatest shape ever. Really? How many steps a day do you think you're taking as you're walking across a quad? Oh, well, that is a lot. How many steps do you take now sitting at your desk? Way, way less. It's these little pieces of activity that really add up. Generally speaking, as we get older, our lifestyle makes us less active. And as we get less active, we burn less calories. And a lot of people perceive that as your metabolism slowing down. Now, you work at a hospital, you're surrounded by medical people. I don't know what you do at a hospital, but you could have a whole bunch of research that's contrary to it. But there's a lot of research out there right now that will say your metabolism doesn't really slow down until much later in life. It's just your life changes. Also, when you lose muscle mass, the more muscle you have, the more calories it takes to sustain you. Having more muscle and less fat, you will burn through more calories. So building some of that muscle mass in the gym, it's not just the activity of lifting the weights, doing the resistance training that is going to burn the calories. It's the type of body tissue you are carrying around. If you are carrying around more muscle, well, that muscle is going to require more calories to sustain it, and your metabolism will be faster. You will get through more calories. And if you've lost muscle mass, if you're not getting to the barbell, as you put it on the regular, well, you're going to have less muscle mass and burn less calories. So you're not, I don't think, in a position where your metabolism has failed you. But your life has probably changed in little, maybe even imperceptible ways that make you less active than you were when you had what you saw as that youthful metabolism. So it's good. It means you're not fighting an uphill battle against age. It means you just need to move around a little bit more. Like I said, 500 extra steps here and there, that really adds up by the end of the week. And if you can get to the gym, man, that really, really does make a difference. So these are my small observations about what you did. It is so hard. It can be so hard to peel yourself off the couch. It can be so hard to get yourself moving. It can be so hard to have the discipline, especially when you are working in a hospital. I can't even begin to imagine what that has entailed and the amount of pressure and stress you have felt. You've also got kids, which means your schedule is not your schedule anymore. Your schedule is dictated by the small human lives that you are responsible for. So it can be really, really difficult. And boy, do I sympathize with what you're talking about. And you also talked about leaving it till the end of the day. Well, you didn't say that, but you said by the end of the day, my ass is kicked. Well, maybe if you figure it out, if you figure out how to do it at a different part of your day, maybe after work before going home, if you've got that 45 minutes or an hour or whatever it is, or maybe if you can take some extra steps on your lunch break, just take a look at your step counter. Maybe walk up and down the hall a little bit more. Get those 500 extra steps in. It's little things, but they will put you over the edge and they will get you where you're going. And I think, last of all, I did it. And if I can do it, other people can, because I am not disciplined. I am not motivated. I am hardwired to be lazy. Physically, anyway. I'm all about working really hard at a job, but in terms of having some get up and go, not so much. For me, it was really a mental thing. My shrink said, I could either prescribe you antidepressants or you can get yourself into the gym. And we decided, because antidepressants would change my personality and my personality was what paid the mortgage, that the exercise would be better. And, well, because I had a doctor saying this is for your mental health, it will make you happier and it will help you probably break through this cloud of depression that you're living in at the time, about 10 years ago. I did it because a doctor told me I had to. And that's the other thing. I believe that when you do it, you kind of get on a roll where the clouds do part. The mental benefits of exercise are almost instantaneous, I find. They happen that day. They happen overnight. It's a quick thing. And if you can just get yourself to do it a couple times, I bet you find a way to continue. So I hope some of that's helpful. The bottom line is you can do this. I know this. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of my radio family. As always, this time that you and I spend together, it's the best part of my day. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Have a great one. Later.